The Omicron scare is hitting hard the tourism industry, which was on its way to recovery. To talk to us more on that, I have with me Mr. Sriharan Balan, the MD of the Madura Group, a well-known travel services company in Chennai. Thank you very much for your time. What kind of an impact? You said there are lots of cancellations over the last 3 days.
We are seeing cancellations, we are seeing day change because the Dubai Expo is happening, a lot of student traveling, a lot of families traveling, the US has just opened, many countries, Canada has opened, Australia, New Zealand is open. So yes, the travel is planned, but yet passengers are having some kind of a confusion.
In terms of percentage, what would you say? And this is largely outbound travel or inbound?
Yeah, basically outbound is definitely a big number because we are in the Christmas Eve. People want to go to USA, people want to go to Europe, spend their Christmas, New Year's time because they've been locked for the last 2 years, and we saw an amazing increase in bookings. But unfortunately for the last 3 days, yes, indeed there are cancellations about 15 to 20%, primarily to Dubai, the Europe, because we've been hearing news in the Europe right now. There are cancellations. Few have made the date changes already.
And in terms of domestic tourism, do you think there will be no impact, or you're still worried about that?
Domestic tourism, luckily we live in a very, very big country. But yes, Mumbai, Maharashtra has gotten a lot of guidelines already, and they've made it mandatory for RT-PCR. Vaccination passengers are only allowed and all these things. We expect that from different states also, but as of now, it's very safe. As of now, the signal is green. So I don't find anything that is very scary. And I strongly believe we would get more clarity on this particular variant, which will definitely help vaccinated passengers to travel better.
To help us understand, give us the figures. In 2019, before the pandemic, what was the outbound travel, be it in Tamil Nadu or across India? What was it last year, and what was the estimates this year?
Definitely, outbound travel is always more in number than the inbound travel because India or Tamil Nadu itself is a very, very big market. On average, 500,000 people would travel during this Christmas Eve across because the flights, Chennai is a very, very big hub. You know, it's one of the biggest airports in India. We have about 12 to 14 direct flights to Colombo. We had about 8 flights to Dubai, and all the major destinations had direct flights from Chennai. So the numbers were huge. But yes, unfortunately,
5 lakhs from Tamil Nadu alone.
Tamil Nadu alone. So 5 lakhs from Tamil Nadu alone because when I say Tamil Nadu, Madura is an international, Coimbatore is an international, Chennai is obviously an international, Trichy is an international. So we have big gateways. So people travel large numbers out. But right now the flights are also less in numbers because when I said 12 direct flights, now there are just 2 flights to Colombo. So because of the number of flights which is reduced, and as well as there is a lot of speculations with the virus, yes, number has drastically reduced last year, but this year 2020 more than 2021 was much better because last year only Dubai and Maldives was open, but right now many countries are open. Turkey, Russia, everything is almost open. All the major tourist places are almost open. Malaysia is opening, Singapore is opening, Singapore's opened, Phuket, Thailand is open. So yes, if not for this new variant, I think definitely travel and tourism is back on full swing.
Right. And 5 lakh from Tamil Nadu across the country, what's the number we're looking at?
It's definitely in crores because I'll tell you, one single country like Singapore alone attracts close to 25 to 30 lakh tourists from India. So this is an average number for one country we are talking, and there's a whole globe outside. So yes, the numbers are very huge for outbound. I think that is why even our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi had before the COVID itself, he said, "Dekho India." Dekho apna desh. So, you know, because this big numbers, when it becomes a domestic tourism itself is a very, very huge thing. But there was always a thought that going abroad was something better. So I think, yes, indeed, people travel in big numbers, and travel has become very accessible, very cheap. You know, that is the primary reason, because a person who's having 25,000 rupee budget could go to Thailand. Which is from Chennai, if somebody is looking at a North Indian destination itself, it's much more than going to Singapore. So that's the primary thing that was earlier for international travel. But yes, domestic people started exploring a lot of destinations right now, and slowly, because of the restrictions and these things, people are still not fully into outbound. They are still looking for domestic tourism.
Briefly, in what way has the tourism industry been impacted over the last 2 years, ever since the pandemic struck?
Definitely, it's a very, very hard blow because the tourism industry, people out in India know about the virus only after the Honorable Prime Minister told about the lockdown. And until then, people were just joking about the COVID. But we in the industry, we knew about it in January itself when Singapore closed, when Hong Kong closed, when Southeast Asia went into lockdowns. We were aware this is going to be very bad because it's not a very normal thing. We've seen this 10 years back in SARS, when SARS came in Singapore and Hong Kong. So we were a little prepared, but never expected it to be this long. In India alone, in the initial stages, more than 1 million people lost jobs directly associated with the tourism industry, and indirectly many millions have lost their jobs. And now they are coming back. Even our offices, we had some layoffs and we are taking our staffs back. Yes, because as the market opens, people are taking them, because travel and tourism, hospitality, people are not like anybody. They have to have that heart to help people in tourism. It is opening all the hotels, because I could see a lot of openings coming up in hotels, a lot of openings coming up in visa centers and all. The jobs are getting back, provided the variants are in control.
Thank you so much for your time. That was Mr. Balan from the Madura group talking to us about the impact of the Omicron variant. In Chennai with Suresh, Sam Daniel, for NDTV.